We like getting feedback from folks, so there is a survey link up there that will be live until the 23rd of February for community members to fill out and send back any feedback that they may have. So that will be posted tomorrow. I'll post this tomorrow. Sorry about the length of that presentation. I appreciate your attention. Are there questions about the district level data? Mr. Brown, you said you were done. Someone take his microphone.
With that section. This is a new section.
Oh, okay,
so
got it.
Real quick, has the homeless and free and reduced lunch standard changed, or has that stayed the same and we're seeing that much of an increase? Have we expanded the standard?
Homeless standard has stayed the same, so that definition has been set by the McKinney-Vento Act since
Hurricane Katrina.
Yes, it's been a while. So that has been the same standard. Free and reduced lunch is a federal number that is given to us each year, so it changes annually based on income and data that the federal government collects. And a benchmark is set, and then students that meet certain percentages of that benchmark are either reduced lunch or free lunch. But it has changed every year as long as I've been in this role.
So that could be a reason why we're seeing an expanded role in the free and reduced lunches, because the standard seems to slide each year.
Sure.
Okay.
I do believe that we have additional needs within our community that we're seeing, grow. And I think we are better prepared to be able to support those students and identify and support families to get that paperwork completed for us to be able to provide that support.
Just to be clear, I think homeless doesn't necessarily mean they don't actually have a home. They may be living with another family member or something like that, correct? So it's not that we have 50 kids specifically out under a pavilion somewhere here.
Yes, it's anybody that does not have stable housing. Once identified, they stay in that category for the full year. As has been researched, students who have that experience typically need additional supports even after they are able to get secure homes. They will still need some supports throughout that year. So once identified for the year, they stay within that identification. And again, that's been the same since Hurricane Katrina.
I just wondered that when I was a community member, and I thought I would clarify that. I do have a couple questions here. So I saw some of our numbers went up with discipline. Do we see that as we think the kids are being better, needing more discipline? Or is it that we as staff are cracking down a little bit harder on some of the things that they're doing? And then if that's what's happening, do we see kids paying a little bit more attention to that because we're kind of setting an example? I don't know if anybody has any feedback on that.
I would say that's hard to quantify. I think the point of showing that is the fact that just represents the number of times that we've had to intervene. The OSS is the most significant consequence we can give a student, and we're removing them from their instruction. So that's a thing that we have to report to the federal government at the end of each year. So we utilize it as a standpoint. It's hard to say if students are behaving more poorly than before or not. I honestly don't have a great answer to that, to be honest.
Thank you. One other question I had, so you had mentioned earlier, and correct me if I misunderstood this wrong, but you had said typically when a new curriculum gets put in, it takes a couple years for things to kind of level out. But then in these last slides, we were looking at an implementation year and then kind of looking at about 4 years. I know it varied a little bit later that we're rewriting. So are we expecting when we rewrite it that it's now going to take about 2 years again? So every 2 years we're kind of hurting our scores all over again?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So that timeline is written so we have time for the program to be implemented, for us to be able to implement it for 2 years. We then study it to figure out what exactly was happening. And then when we say write, that doesn't mean we go to a full rewrite. Recently for math and ELA at the elementary level, we did that. We basically changed it completely. But that is not typical. Typically it's okay, this part seems to be working really well in that 3 to 5 year window. Let's change this little part over here and then see what happens. So we're not changing the whole thing every 5 years, but that opens up that window for us to be able to readjust some things. But we don't want to be doing it in that 3 year window because we need time to figure out, did that change actually have an impact? So no, we're not